Have you recently got yourself a new Cricut machine and you're not quite sure how to use it? Today we're going to change that. Together we're going to learn the basics of your Cricut machine, plus we're going to create 4 DIYs that will teach you 4 different techniques on your machine, giving you a good foundation and getting you started on creating your own beautiful one-of-a-kind DIYs with this amazing machine. So let's get our DIY on.
First, let's talk about supplies. One of the supplies you're going to need is some vinyl. Now you can get the Cricut brand, but there are tons of different options out there now at different price points. It's also important to note that there's different types of vinyl. There's removable vinyl, permanent vinyl, and heat transfer vinyl. You'll also need some transfer tape. And of course, you're going to be needing a Cricut machine, whether or not that's one of the Cricut Joys, the Cricut Maker, or the Cricut Explorer. To recreate these DIYs, you're also going to need at least one pen. And although there are a ton of wonderful tools that will definitely help you when working with the Cricut, and I'll go over which ones I think are worth the investment to begin with, the pack you're really going to need for these DIYs is this trio here. It says for Cricut Joy, but it has everything you need. Okay, and now let's talk mats. They come in all different types of lengths and grips. You can see here we have the light grip, the standard grip, the fabric grip, and the strong grip. So now that you've unboxed your Cricut machine and you found the spot you want to place it, we're going to get to know it a little bit better. You'll notice that on the front here, there's a little space where you can store some of your Cricut tools if you so choose. I prefer to just store my pens in here and keep all of my Cricut tools really close and handy to my workspace. I just made this out of an old necklace hanger. You can also use these little pockets here on the side to store your pens. Okay, first step, you're going to want to plug your machine in. Now you're going to notice 4 buttons on your machine. The top one here is your on-off button. Just push that to power it on. Then you have the loading button, the cutting button, and if you need to pause in the middle of a cutting process, the pause button. You'll also notice that there's a clamp for pens and then a clamp for your blade. Now my Cricut is already all set up, but if you haven't done that yet, don't worry. Even though I can't show you, I'm telling you the system walks you through everything. It's Bluetooth. It's super simple. If I can do it, you can do it. Cricut also offers a free trial to try out their membership. I personally haven't applied for this yet because I find that there's a lot of things you can do for free, but it's totally up to you. For this first DIY, you're going to need some permanent vinyl. Now I'm just using Make Market vinyl here, but really you can use any vinyl that you prefer. And I've chosen a vinyl in a matte red. Open your Cricut to the front page, and then on the top right-hand corner, click on New Project. This will bring you to a blank canvas, and on the left-hand side here, you'll see an icon that says Images. Click on that. This will bring you to the page where Cricut has all of their images. Now feel free to pay for images or click on the free icon on the left hand side, and this will pull up all of the free images that you can use with your Cricut. If there's something specific you're looking for, you can go into the search bar and type that in. So I've typed in lips, and this will pull up all of the free lip images available to me on Cricut. Click the image that you want, then click on Add to Canvas. A little black bar will show up at the bottom, and then click on View. This will bring you back to your blank canvas, only now we have our image on it. You're also going to need a white mug. I just bought this one from IKEA for less than $5. Either eyeball or measure the mug so that you know the space that you're working with. There are 2 ways that you can make your image bigger or smaller. You can grab the corner of your image and then pull it out to make it larger or smaller, or you can go to the top row here. You'll see 2 boxes with width and height with a lock in the middle. If you have the lock closed and you move one, the other one will automatically move to keep the proportions correct. If you unlock it, you can customize the size by just changing one or the other. If you wish to undo a change, just click the back arrow located in the top left-hand corner. Now that we have the image the size we want, go to the top right-hand corner and click Make, and then you're going to either save it or don't save it. I'm going with don't save. Click on mat and then continue. And now you'll be able to see what your image will look like on your mat. If you look at the bar on the left-hand side, you'll be able to see the number of copies that you're going to make. You can change this if you want. We're not going to. We're going to leave it at 1. We're doing a basic cut on a basic 12 by 12 mat, and we are not going to be using mirror for this because we're just doing vinyl, but I will show you later on how to use the mirror toggle. Now, if you click off the image and the grid disappears, don't worry, just click on your image and the grid will reappear. Now you want to click on continue. Make sure your Cricut machine is plugged in and powered on. Once it's connected, you'll be brought to this page. Now you won't have these 3 little boxes here at the top, but I'll quickly show you how you can create these as well. If you look just to the right of you, you'll see browse all materials. Click on that. This will bring you to a page with all of the different materials that you can cut on your Cricut machine. And they have everything broken up into categories. Now there's also a toggle box that says all categories at the top, and you can find the individual categories there. Click on that and it will bring you to that section of the list. There is also a search bar that you can enter in whatever material it is that you're specifically looking for. Now to create the bookmarks that I had on that front page, just find the material that you want to bookmark, click on the little flag so that it turns green, and then it will be bookmarked on your front page. This just makes things easier if you have a particular cutting method that you're using over and over again, and then you don't have to keep searching it out in the categories. There's also a popular option here that you can click on the link and it will bring up all of the more popular cutting methods that people tend to use. For this DIY, I'm going to use washi sheet. Okay, let's take a look at our mats. Each of our mats come with a clear film on top. This is very important. Do not lose this. Now, a tool that's not necessary but is nice to have is Cricut's portable trimmer. It makes it really easy to trim down your vinyl and gives you nice straight cut lines. So I'm just cutting down the vinyl here so that it's 4 inches long. Now remove that very important clear film and put that somewhere safe so that you can find it as soon as you're done. Place your permanent vinyl on the top portion of the Cricut mat and then either smooth it down with your hands, or another handy tool is this Cricut brayer, which is great for rolling your vinyl on nice and smooth to the mat. Now if you look closely on your machine, you'll see 2 little lips on both sides. This is where you're going to slide your mat underneath, and then you'll notice that there's a button with an arrow pointing up and down that's flashing. Press that and that will load your mat onto the machine. Next, you'll notice that the C button is starting to blink. That means it's ready to cut. Push that button and then let your Cricut do its thing. And honestly, this is so much fun to watch. I just like sit there and watch the Cricut machine cut everything out. It can really be a bit entertaining. Now, once your machine is done cutting, that arrow button will start to flash again. Just press that button once again and it will eject your mat. Now, I find it easiest to flip the mat over and then pull the mat away from the vinyl. This will prevent your vinyl from curling too much. Now, as soon as you've removed that vinyl, replace that clear film over your mat. This is going to keep it from getting dirty and losing its stickiness. Trim out any excess vinyl and then keep that vinyl because you can always use that in another project later on. Now for this DIY, you're going to need a weeding tool and a scraper. Then you're going to want to carefully remove the corner of the vinyl, and then we're going to weed out the entire image using our weeding tool. Now another item you're going to need to make this DIY is some transfer tape. You can get this again in all different brand names, but here's another little tip. You can reuse your transfer tape. So I like to keep a binder that I use to store all of my leftover vinyl scraps. I keep all of my vinyl divided up into permanent, removable, and heat transfer vinyl, and I also keep my transfer tape that I've already used in this binder because then it's really easy just to find a piece that will match my project and I can reuse it over and over again. So remove your transfer tape from the backing, but don't throw that backing out because we're going to use that again in a bit, and we're going to apply the transfer tape to the top part of your image, pressing it down with your fingers to smooth everything out. And then using your scraper tool, you're going to burnish that vinyl image onto the transfer tape. Now, I like to do my burnishing both on the front side, so getting everything stuck down really well, and then I flip that over and burnish it along the back side as well. And then you're going to carefully peel the backing away from the transfer tape. Cricut does have a mug press, which you can definitely invest in. I just don't make enough mugs to make it worth my while, and you have to use their particular mugs, so it's really up to you. Using a cotton pad and some rubbing alcohol, just wipe the part of the mug in which you're going to be applying your vinyl and then let that dry. Then carefully place your vinyl on the front of your mug and press it down lightly with your fingers just to smooth everything out. And next, you're going to grab your scraper tool again and just burnish that down really, really well. And then carefully peel back the transfer tape and replace it onto that little piece that you saved so that you can use this transfer tape again in another project. And there you have a customizable mug that you can use any image or wording on it that you choose. Now, I would hand wash these mugs, or I have had success placing them on the top row of my dishwasher, but you'll want to leave it for 48 hours before using the dishwasher. And again, if you use the Cricut cut press, it does make it a little bit more durable. Okay, for this next Cricut DIY, we're going to learn how to use heat transfer vinyl. Again, click on New Project, and that will bring us to the blank canvas. This time, though, we're going to go to the little icon that reads text and click on that. Then you simply type out your message. I'm typing out "Get your DIY on." Now, to move any image or group of words, you simply click and drag. Okay, we're going to explore the options here a little bit. You can change things to be bold, regular, or italic. You can also change the size of the font. By clicking up and down on the arrows here, you can change the spacing between your lines on your messages. You can arrange things so that they're centered. Now you can also change the font by clicking on Font, and here you will see all of the fonts available to you on Cricut. At the top here, you can see a bunch of different categories, and if you click on those categories, such as New, it will show you all of the new fonts, or you could click on something like Vintage, and it will show you all the different vintage fonts. You can also use the search bar to search out specific fonts. Now, if you don't want to pay for the fonts, go over to the little filter icon on the right-hand side. Click on that, and a box will show up with a bunch of different options, including one for free. Click that box, and now all of the free fonts that are available to you on Cricut are on this list. And for this particular DIY, I think I'm going to choose the font Nato Sans Japanese. If I said that wrong, don't come for me. Now I'm going to show you a little customizable trick. If you select your entire message and then go to Arrange, click on that, scroll down until you get to Ungroup, and then click on that. You now have each piece individual, so you can move this R over by simply clicking on it and dragging it. Now to get everything back to group, highlight it all together, go back to Arrange and click on Group, and then you're back to normal. Now before we go to cut this, we're going to go down to the bottom right hand corner, click on the icon that says Combine, and then click on the icon that says Weld. And then once again, we're going to click Make on that little green button in the top right hand corner. And then again, you can choose to save or not save this project. And again, that page with your mat will appear. Now this time we're going to do something a little different. We are going to click that mirror toggle so that it is now green. And you'll notice that the image on your mat is now reversed. Now this is a critical step if you're doing heat transfer. Click on Continue. Now we're at the page where we select how we're going to cut things, and you'll notice that on the left hand side that mirror toggle is green, and this also gives you a second opportunity if you have forgotten to do so on the previous page. Okay, and this time we're going to select Everyday Iron On. And you'll notice that it once again reminds you to do that mirror toggle. Trust me when I say your iron on image will not work if you haven't mirrored it. Now under that reminder is the option to change the pressure of your blade, but we're just going to keep things simple and keep it on default. We're once again just using that standard mat, so remove the clear covering and make sure you know where it is so that you can replace it when you're done. And this time I'm using some Sizer Easy Weed heat transfer vinyl in matte black. Your heat transfer vinyl has two sides, a shiny side, and if you flip it over, a more matte side. Now using your hands or the brayer, you're going to want to attach your vinyl, your heat transfer vinyl, to your mat with the shiny side down with the matte side facing up. Then you're going to load it into your machine, and once that C button starts to blink again, press it and let your Cricut cutting machine do its magic. Once again, trim down any excess and keep that in your binder or wherever you're going to store it, because you can use those again in a different project. Just like we did with the permanent vinyl, we're just going to weed out our image using our weeding tool and our fingers. And honestly, I find that weeding the heat transfer vinyl is a lot easier. It's not sticky like the permanent vinyl, and although it can be a bit tuggy, not even sure that's a thing, but we're going with it. It just tends to be a bit easier. Taking special care to weed out everything, because once you adhere it, you can't undo it. Now for this DIY, I'm just using an inexpensive neutral colored pillowcase from IKEA that is 20 by 20. And you're also going to need either an iron or a Cricut press for this DIY. And I will say for the best results, you really are better off using the Cricut press. But again, if you don't have one, no big deal, just use your iron. Now the Cricut press comes in two pieces. You have the Cricut press itself and then the safety base. Another handy tool to have when using a Cricut press is Cricut's heat mats, and most recently Make Market has come out with its own version of the heat mat for a bit of a more affordable price. However, I don't have either of these tools, so I'm just using a blanket that I keep in the craft room. You could use that or an old towel if you don't have the mat. To find the center point in your pillow, just fold it in lengthwise and widthwise, and that will let you know where you're going to place your vinyl. Now setting up your Cricut press couldn't be easier. They have an app that you can download, and you just press on the app icon and then click on Start New Project. Next, select the type of transfer material that you're using. So we're using everyday iron-on. Click on that, and then what we're putting it on, we're putting it on 100% cotton. Click on Next. If you're feeling really unsure, there's this button here that will give you all the details you need to know how to use everything. And here on this screen, it's going to tell you the temperature that the heat press needs to be at, and also how long you need to hold it down for. So here it says 155 and 5 seconds. And then just click on Send to Heat Press, and it will send all the information it needs to your heating press. When your heating press is ready to use, the button with the little orange triangle will turn green and your machine will beep. Remove it from its safety base, place it over your heat transfer vinyl, and then press down for the number of seconds that it asked for. So for this one, it's 5 seconds for each press. It also said to wait 30 seconds for the clear film to cool off, and then once that's cool, you just very carefully remove it. And that's really all it takes to make yourself some beautiful customizable pillows. I love making throw pillow covers this way. I have made tons for our home. You can use words, images, really sky's the limit. For this next DIY, we're going to make a stencil. So you're either going to need some removable vinyl, or you could use some of Cricut's stencil film. From our blank canvas screen, we're going to select images again, but this time I've typed in mandalas. And I'm going to select this one here, click Add to Canvas, click on View, and now your image is on your blank canvas. And again, to make your image bigger or smaller, you can simply grab the corner and click and drag, or you can change it up there where they have the width and the height. Once you have your stencil the size that you want it, click on the Make button, save or don't save, select Matte, press continue. We're picking washi sheet again, and then once again we'll let our Cricut machine cut everything out exactly the way we want it. Remove the vinyl from your sticky mat, and then weed out the design so that you're removing the pieces that you want painted. You're once again going to need to apply transfer tape because we're using a removable vinyl. Anytime you're using permanent or removable vinyl, you are going to need to use transfer tape. Burnish your image on both the front and the back. Peel off the backing so that you end up with with just your vinyl image on the transfer tape. Center that onto whichever piece you're going to be applying the stencil to. I'm just using a piece of wood from the dollar store. Using your Cricut scraper, burnish your vinyl image onto the piece that you're going to be stenciling, and then carefully remove the transfer tape, placing it back onto its backing so that you can use it again in another DIY. Now you can use, of course, any paint you have on hand. I happen to have this folk art chalk paint in a really nice teal color, and so just using a stenciling brush, I'm going to apply this paint all over the top of my wood piece and the stencil image. Once the paint has dried, simply remove it with your weeding tool. Using your Cricut machine to create your own personalized stencils is a wonderful way to personalize your own home decor and gifts. I also love that by using your Cricut vinyl as a stencil with paint, you can create a more rustic look. For this DIY, we're going back to the blank canvas screen, and this time we're going to select images again. We're going to make sure that we tick off that free box once more, and we're going to type into the search bar gift tag shapes. There are a ton of wonderful options for free, but we're going to use this red gift tag here. Next, you're going to click on images again and then search up curly lines in the search bar. This is the one we're going to select. Click on add to canvas and then view. To resize the curly line so that it fits in the bottom of your gift tag, just click and drag in the corner to size it properly and then center it. To create a name for your gift tag, click on text box and then type out the name. Now you'll want to go to the left upper hand corner where it reads operations. Click on that and then click on pen that is right underneath draw. And you'll notice that the font changes. So to change this to look like writing, go to style and then go down to writing and click on that. Now to see which other fonts you can use the writing style with, do the same thing you did to find the free fonts. Click on the filter and then you can click writing, and that will give you all of the fonts that Cricut offers in the writing style, both paid and free. Or you can click on free as well as writing, and then that will give you all of the fonts that Cricut offers in both the writing style for free. Okay, now we want to cut out that curly line, so we're going to select both the tag and the curly line and then hit slice. That's in the bottom right hand corner. And now when you click and drag your tag, you can see that that part is left out, and you can just simply delete that. Add your name to the center of the tag. When you move your name, it goes behind the tag. Click arrange and bring forward. To duplicate your tag, click on edit and then duplicate. If at any time you want to change the color of an image, just click on the image and then click on the little icon with the coloring. Select the color that you would prefer. So I'm going to go with craft paper color since that's the color that I'm going to be cutting the tags out on. And this just gives you a better idea of how everything is going to look in the end. To change any of the names on the tag, just simply click on your text box and then reprint whatever name you'd like to replace that with. Next, you're going to highlight the individual tags and then on the bottom corner, click attach. This will make sure that all your pieces on your tags stay together. Click the make button and then on matte. And now you'll notice that on the left hand side above basic cut, there's also the word pen. Click continue. And this time for cutting options, we're going to select the material cardstock. Once again, we're using the regular grip mat, and you're just going to remove that clear film and then place your cardstock over top of your cutting mat. Adding your pen is super simple. So you're going to need a Cricut pen, and you're just going to take off the cap, open up the clamp, slide the pen inside that part where it's supposed to hold it, push it down until you hear a click, and then just close the clamp and you're set to go. Simply load your mat like we have every other time and then let the Cricut machine do its thing. It's going to write out the messages first, and then once it's done writing, it'll go back and cut out the shapes. The easiest way to remove your cardstock from the sticky mat is to use the little spatula that you can get to go with your Cricut machine, and then to clean off the mat so that you can replace it. The film over top, just use that little spatula to scrape off any of the little bits that got left behind. Add some ribbon or twine, and there you have a simple and easy way to create unique, one-of-a-kind gift tags that I know your family and friends are going to love. For more Cricut DIY ideas, make sure you check out at Jenny's Place Cricut playlist. You'll find a link to that in the description below.
If you enjoyed that, make sure you subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. If you hit that notification bell, it'll let you know the next time I upload. Oh, and you might enjoy these.